this might be my most head-ass take in this video. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be the #1 seed in the AFC and win 14 or more games.
Damn!
Bold predictions are very risky. You either look like an absolute genius or you look like a complete fool. For example, people predicted that cryptocurrency was going to take the world by storm. And they were right, because it lost people millions of dollars. But on the other side of that, some people's predictions were wild upsets that ended up coming true and making them look like an absolute genius. So I'm going to be giving one bold prediction for every single NFL team. And I want you guys to comment down below whether you agree or disagree with my bold predictions. So this video is going to be a little bit longer. So sit down, get your popcorn, get your notepad, furiously type in the comment sections if you want. But go ahead and watch this whole video so you can hear every single team's bold prediction. We're going to go in alphabetical order. So we're going to start with the Cardinals. We're going to end with the Commanders. You guys can quote me on these if you want, by the way. I mean, I'm fully confident in all of these. 100%. There's no way any of these are wrong. Definitely not. No. Starting with the Arizona Cardinals, my bold prediction is that Marvin Harrison Jr. is the consolation prize for a terrible season. It's no secret that the Cardinals are probably not going to be very good this year. And I think because of that, they're going to have a very high draft choice, probably, likely, in the top 3. What better way to replace DeAndre Hopkins than to sign maybe the best receiving prospect of my entire lifetime in Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think they're going to want to depart with Kyler Murray at the end of this year, so getting him a certified stud wide receiver is going to be awesome for him. And we've seen how it's worked with the Vikings with Justin Jefferson, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase. Those offenses are some of the best in the league. I think the Cardinals would be very smart to go grab Marvin Harrison with their high draft selection. My bold prediction for the Atlanta Falcons is that Bijan Robinson does not win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, I know he's probably the betting favorite right now, and in many people's minds and in their hearts, he's probably the best candidate to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but I don't think he will. And we'll get into why I don't think that later. But Bijan Robinson is not going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. My bold prediction for the Baltimore Ravens is that Lamar Jackson is back, and they're going to win the AFC North. The AFC North is one of the most competitive divisions in the entire NFL. It's pretty much a dogfight to see who's going to win it. But I think Lamar Jackson plays a mostly fully healthy season and is able to lead the Ravens to become first place in one of the best divisions in the entire NFL. Next, we have the Buffalo Bills. My bold prediction for them is that the Bills keep plummeting. We've seen their playoff success decrease over the last few years. It climaxed with a 2020 AFC Championship game. It's kind of been going downhill ever since then. They barely eked out a wild card win this year against Skylar Thompson at home. And this year, I'm predicting that they continue to get a little bit worse. There's some drama going on with Stephon Diggs. They lost Leslie Frazier in the offseason as their defensive coordinator. They also lost their stud middle linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds. I think their defense is going to be a little bit worse. I think their offense is going to have similar issues with running the football. I don't think the Bills are the Super Bowl caliber team that most people think they are, unfortunately. Next, the Carolina Panthers. My bold prediction is that they win the NFC South. The NFC South, contrary to what I said about the AFC North, is one of the worst divisions in football. And I think Bryce Young coming in, being the #1 overall pick to the Carolina Panthers, probably means that a lot of people think that the Panthers are not going to be competitive this year, which I'm not saying they will be, but I think if the Panthers can manage to get to like a 9-8 record, that might be good enough to win this division. I'm a lot higher on Bryce Young than many people, which is saying something because, he was the first overall pick in the draft. But I think he's going to be the starter very close to week 1 in the NFL season. And as the season goes on, he's going to get continually better. He's got a good offensive line. His receivers are not that good. But I think the defense is really good and it's really young. And I also very much like Frank Reich to be a good dark horse Coach of the Year candidate. Next, for the Chicago Bears, I predict that they have the biggest win improvement in the NFL. Now, this isn't me saying that they're going to go like 11-6, 12-5. That's kind of ridiculous. Have you seen their defensive line? But the Bears last year had the #1 overall pick in the draft. And this offseason, I don't think anybody can argue with the fact that they have gotten substantially better. Plus, a lot of people see an incoming Justin Fields breakout season. Even if those ingredients mix a little bit, I think the Bears are going to improve by probably at least 4 to 5 wins, which is probably good enough to become the most improved team in the NFL. I don't predict them to go to the playoffs or anything, but it is a really good step in the right direction for this Bears franchise that desperately needs those. Next, for the Cincinnati Bengals, I think Joe Burrow eclipses his first 5,000-yard passing season. The Bengals receivers are awesome, probably the best in the NFL, and Joe Burrow is also awesome, one of the best in the NFL. I think with the decline of Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine left in free agency, I think they're going to be even more of a pass-heavy team than they have been in years past. And, Jamar Chase last year missed a little bit of time. If he's able to stay healthy and T. Higgins doesn't stay healthy, and I think new addition Irv Smith to the tight end room is also a good threat in the receiving game, I think that Joe Burrow is going to shatter some of the Bengals' passing records and throw for over 5,000 yards this year. For the Cleveland Browns, unfortunately, I have bad news for you. My bold prediction is that Deshaun Watson is not, in fact, back, and that the Browns finish 4th in the AFC North. Now, I've already mentioned that the North is one of the better divisions, so finishing 4th isn't the worst thing in the world. But when I look at the Browns in terms of coaching, in terms of talent, in terms of defense, quarterback, I just don't think that they're cumulatively a better team than any of the other 3 teams in the division. And to be completely honest, we don't know how good Deshaun Watson is going to be as a member of the Cleveland Browns. People predict that he's going to be back to what he was in Houston, but we honestly don't know. And his receiving room isn't that great, to be honest. Next, for America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, I predict that their offense takes a step back without Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore is very underrated, and I think letting him go from the Cowboys was a big move. He was a scapegoat for Mike McCarthy's shittiness, but losing Kellen Moore, I think, is going to result in a net negative for the Cowboys offense, especially now because Mike McCarthy is calling the plays. I really think they're going to miss Kellen Moore. I think Dak Prescott's going to miss his play calling, and the offense will suffer as a result. For the Denver Broncos, I have good news for you because Russell Wilson is going to look like he did in Seattle, kind of, and he's going to regain his top quarterback status with new head coach Sean Payton. Sean Payton has been one of the best offensive minds of our generation, and adding him to that Broncos team with the Russell Wilson that struggled mightily last year, I think we're going to see a lot more of Seattle Russell Wilson than we did from last year. The Detroit Lions' bold prediction for me this year is that Jared Goff turns into Jared Goof, his alter ego. It's the Bruce Wayne to his Batman. Last year, he was just cosplaying. But this year, I think he reverts back to what he has been in years past. And that's a quarterback that really isn't that good, and a guy that really isn't what he was worth as the number 1 overall pick. Last year, Jared Goff put up career numbers. The Lions were one of the most exciting, intriguing teams in the NFL. But I think the Lions and Jared Goff kind of disappoint their expectations this year. My Packers' bold prediction is that Jordan Love breaks the streak of Hall of Fame quarterbacks for the Green Bay Packers. It's been like 30-something years since the Packers haven't had a Hall of Famer under center. Jordan Love is going to break that, unfortunately. I just don't see it with Jordan Love, and I really don't know if the Packers are ready for a full rebuild or if they want to be competitive. I think a lot hangs in the balance with Jordan Love. I don't think they're a great team, to be completely honest with you, and I don't know if Jordan Love's that guy. So that's just what I'm going to say about him. Houston Texans, bold prediction, Will Anderson wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. I love Will Anderson, not just because I'm an Alabama fan, but I love Will Anderson. I think he's a dominant edge rushing player. D'Amico Ryans, I think, is also a really, really good, smart, defensive-minded head coach. He's going to be able to utilize Will Anderson perfectly. He's going to get 10-plus sacks, I would almost guarantee, if he's able to stay healthy. And he is going to represent the young core that they're building in Houston for the future. My bold prediction for the Indianapolis Colts, I mentioned that Bijan Robinson would not win Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's because it's going to be Anthony Richardson. He's going to take home the hardware this year. I think his skill set is absolutely game-changing. And I think he's going to play before a lot of people expect him to play. I heard Jim Irsay, a little talky, and I think it's going to be hard to keep this guy off the field for multiple weeks throughout the season. Additionally, the Colts aren't a playoff roster right now, so there's really, in my opinion, no harm, no foul about throwing Anthony Richardson in and letting him make a few mistakes because he needs to learn and he does need reps. But I think the combination of his athleticism and his skill set as a passer will lead him to win Offensive Rookie of the Year and put up some of the best highlights of any player next season. My next bold prediction is for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this might be my most head-ass take in this video. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC and win 14 or more games. I know I sound crazy, but I want you to look at their schedule, and I want you to tell me that this is not a cakewalk of a... Additionally, I think the Jaguars are only going to get better with another year of Doug Peterson, another year of Trevor Lawrence. They added one of the game's former best wide receivers in Calvin Ridley, and they also added another tackle in Anton Harrison to protect Trevor Lawrence. I think if that defense could keep up its end of the bargain, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be one of the most dangerous teams in the entire AFC. Let's also not confuse me saying the Jaguars are going to be the number one seed in the AFC with thinking that they're going to be the best team in the NFL, because if you remember a few years ago, the Titans were the number one seed in the AFC, and they were not the best team in the NFL. You do benefit a little bit from a bad schedule, and to a certain degree, I think that's what the Jaguars are going to do. But I still think that they're going to be really, really good in 2023, because the best team in the AFC is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. My bold prediction is that they repeat as Super Bowl champions, and Patrick Mahomes cements himself into the legitimate greatest of all time conversation. My bold prediction for the Las Vegas Raiders is that they win a measly 5 games in 2023. They're going to have a top 10 pick. I pretty much have no doubt about that. I think 5 wins is probably the right thing to say. I don't know if Josh McDaniels makes it to the end of the year. I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo makes it to the end of the year. And fuck, if he gets mad, I don't know if Devontae Adams makes it to the end of the year. My Los Angeles Chargers bold prediction is that Justin Herbert is going to be a legitimate MVP frontrunner. We've seen glimpses of it in the past and his tantalizing talent. Try to say that 5 times fast. But I think with new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, new first-round wide receiver Quentin Johnson, his game is going to be taken to a new level, and he's going to put up the best stats in the NFL and be one of, if not the number one finalist for MVP when the season wraps up. My prediction for the other Los Angeles team, the Rams, is that they finally tear it all down and rebuild. Matthew Stafford, I think, has the wheels fall off. Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp are getting older. You know, they already traded Jalen Ramsey last year. It's not the most crazy thing in the world. I think they just fully tank. They restock, retool, accumulate as much draft picks as they can. The opposite strategy of when they won the Super Bowl. And they are ready to be good again in a few seasons. My bold prediction for the Miami Dolphins is that they are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. I think that the Dolphins offense is one of the most talented and fast units in the entire NFL. Mike McDaniels is a great coach. Add to that to the fact that now they have Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator, Jalen Ramsey, Jalen Phillips. I also think a sneaky good addition was David Long at linebacker. I think this Dolphins offense and defense is going to be top 10, and they are a legitimate Super Bowl threat. My bold take for the Minnesota Vikings is that Kirk Cousins dips out of the Twin Cities after a disappointing season for the Vikes. My bold take for the New England Patriots, similar pessimism, is that Mac Jones is not that guy. I've never really been impressed with Mac Jones. This is coming from an Alabama fan, by the way. Never really been impressed with Mac Jones, and he really, to me, hasn't shown enough to prove that he is the guy that the Patriots should start every week for years to come. I think the Patriots might look elsewhere for quarterbacks in 2024 and beyond, and I don't know if this is going to be Mac Jones' best season. My bold prediction for the New Orleans Saints is that Dennis Allen holds them back, and he gets fired at or before the end of the season. You can't be a good coach when you have a career 283 win percentage, unless you're, of course, Hugh Jackson. But Dennis Allen just isn't well experienced enough. He isn't good enough at his job, I think, to get the Saints where they want to go. Not saying the Saints are a great roster, but I think they could compete if they had a quality head coach. My bold prediction for the New York Giants is that Danny Dimes proves to be a bad investment. He's on a big contract in this offseason, securing himself as the starter for the Giants, and I am not a Daniel Jones believer. I'm going to just be real with you guys. I think that the Giants overpay a little bit because they didn't want to have a quarterback worse than Daniel Jones. But unfortunately, I think Daniel Jones is sitting right at about league average, maybe even a little bit below. And he's not going to be a good financial investment for the Giants. My bold prediction for the New York Jets is that Aaron Rodgers is back. Sort of. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going back to his MVP days of the past, but I think Aaron Rodgers is still going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL. He's going to prove that the Jets trading for him was a good move. And with that defense and with those young players on offense, I think the Jets could maybe possibly make some noise. We'll have to see. My bold prediction for the Philadelphia Eagles is that they are going to run a fucking train on the NFC. I don't think any team in the NFC is even a mile away from the Eagles in terms of how good they are, the roster, the coaching, the quarterback, everything like that. The Eagles are just so head over heels above any other team in the NFC, and I think that they're going to actually breeze through the NFC in the playoffs to get back to the Super Bowl. My bold prediction for the Pittsburgh Steelers is that their defense is a top 5 unit in the NFL. I like some of the moves they made this offseason. I like the fact that they drafted Joey Porter with that, high second-round pick, the one that they got from the Bears. That was basically a first-round pick, right? T.J. Watt, I don't even have to tell you, is one of the most dominant defensive players in the NFL. When he's on the field, the Steelers' defense is significantly better than he is without. And I think that he can hopefully stay healthy for this whole year, and the Steelers' defense is going to be awesome. My bold prediction for the San Francisco 49ers is that once again in the Bay, the lack of competent quarterback play prevents them from getting past the NFC Championship game and or winning them a Super Bowl. I'm not a big believer in Brock Purdy. Trey Lance seems to be vanquishing on the 49ers bench as we speak, and Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold. So I'm not too thrilled about the 49ers quarterback situation. I think the rest of their roster is pretty damn good, and I like Kyle Shanahan, but they just haven't been able to get it right with the quarterback situation. The Seattle Seahawks, my bold prediction, says that they will win a playoff game. I'm not going to go so far as to say that the Seahawks are Super Bowl contenders. I think they're still probably a year or two away from that, but I think they will be better than they were last year. And last year, they ran into the 49ers, buzzsaw in the playoffs. Sucks. But this year, I think they get a more favorable matchup because of better seeding, and I think that they're able to at least win one playoff game. My bold prediction for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is that Caleb Williams will be wearing a Buccaneers uniform this time next year. I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. They're going to win the Tank Bowl for Caleb Williams. And honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's actually a pretty good season. If you're going to be bad, be the worst. You know what I'm saying? They're going to get their quarterback for the future in Caleb Williams. My bold prediction for the Tennessee Titans is that this is going to be the last dominant Derrick Henry season. I think the Titans' offense is bad right now, and they're going to completely go through Derrick Henry, which I can't say I blame them. But eventually, the tires have to fall off. Eventually, there's going to be too much, mileage on that car. And I think Derrick Henry's body's going to break down a little bit. I think that his, you see the curve with running backs, stop being efficient as they are. I think that's going to happen to Derrick Henry, unfortunately, and the Titans are really going to have nothing on offense after that. And then my final bold prediction for this video is that the Washington Commanders, Sam Howell is that guy. He's him. He's going to be at least their short-term answer at quarterback. They don't have to keep shuffling around Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke and all these other guys. Sam Howell is going to cement himself as the quarterback in Washington, and maybe they even sneak into the wild card round. But that is all of my bold predictions for this season. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the notification bell for more videos so that way you don't miss them. I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. And don't invest in cryptocurrency.